Hello. So when I did a video about the Sinister plot yesterday, day before, I talked a bit about how one of my guildmates was using an Ishmael team, about how I didn't recommend it, but somebody wanted me to go a bit further in explaining like the Ishmael team. So the person in question, like they use a line, so they use Nebula, Sebastian, Aurora, Ishmael. Where's Ishmael? Here it is, Ishmael. So it's generally what they use. A lot of times they don't have a pet on Nebula, so using like uh, Oliver on or something. But there's usually Fenris is the only one that can work on Ishmael. And then they have Albus on Sebastian, usually. And then their healer, they either use Thea or Martha. Like, so they have both of them developed, Thea and Martha. So it's like they'll use one of them. Usually it's actual here. I said, I guess it depends. Actually, I think they changed it, but that's generally what they have. Like, those are pretty much, they just use those 6 heroes. The only other heroes they have are Fox and Isaac, which I think they have Isaac just for the guild boss, because they already had Sebastian, Nebula, and Martha. And then Fox is the only other one they have, which was... Fox was the only, armor pen buffer that could sit behind Nebula. Like, all the other ones would mess up the line. Though Tristan's here now, he could probably work. Like Isaac, he sits between Nebula and Ishmael, which is why that line doesn't work. Same with Morgan, same with Chin Mao and Elmir, right? But Tristan's new. He would actually probably be really good for him. Like if he had Tristan, Tristan would probably work really well here because Tristan doesn't mess up this line. But this line really does depend on Nebula being right between Sebastian and Ishmael. So that when Ishmael, like I said, right, so when Ishmael crits, he gets that huge bonus. Or if Nebula happens to be buffed Sebastian, so battle songs up, then the huge pure damage hit goes, right? And this is a team, right, I don't say it's that good, but it is very good versus certain lanes. So let's set up like a defending team that, right, like I said, he struggles versus, like, here's the thing, like, he struggles versus dodged heroes, which is why I think he's not that good, because Aurora's probably it's by far the most used tank. You see, like I said, he can work versus like I said, if you can put in Morgan, but problem is Morgan messes up things, so he kind of, like I said, Rufus is another one. He actually kind of struggles against Rufus because he's trying to depend on pure damage from Sebastian, so like I said, it's not a line I recommend a lot, but it does work versus like squishier tanks like Corvus or Astaroth. If they happen to be leaders like Corvus or an Astaroth. Let's just find a line that might work. Like I said, you can't really, like I said, it's just struggles versus Aurora, struggles versus like dodge heroes in general. But what would you put here? Maybe a Phobos? I don't really know. Like, I almost never see Morgan Corvus teams, but I'm just trying to show like an example. Let's just roll with it. That's fine. We're just going to show you like an example, like how this team works. I think I have another idea for a line that'll work better. Come on, where's Ishmael? Here's Ishmael and Martha. All right, and then you'd like said, and this works. Right, like I said, so you see how Nebula, so she'll have her theme between either Ishmael or Sebastian. Right, this causes Ishmael to hit really hard. He hit almost 400k there with that crit. If battle songs up, like now, like with the buffing, like if Ishmael crits, when that's on, like I said, right, just depends on like if battle songs up while that's hit, but if she crits while there's a battle song up, the pure damage hit will be big, but there's a lot of randomness here because you're relying on crits. If the other team has a dodge hero, you're really relying on them to have a bad dodge roll, but like I said, he can one-shot, with this setup, he can one-shot a lot of heroes if he can land hits, which is why dodge is really his downfall. Dodge just really gets him, but Like I said, Morgan with, like I said, Axel can sometimes be an issue, but Corvus, again, not that good of a tank. He's pretty squishy and dies pretty easily to a team like this. Like I said, sometimes you'll see like some kind of like say Luther actually. Here's one that might actually, like say you'll see sometimes Luther, right? Because he jumps. This actually Ishmael ends up actually being able to take advantage of like Luther teams. No, it's Gmail. Let's try like a. Let's try something like this. Like sometimes you might see like a Jew team with like a Luther or something or a Cleaver, right? But the thing about like with Luther, like he can usually be pretty good versus Luther. Like I said, I'm not the Ishmael expert, but like I said, there's literally the only guy in Gold League I even see use Ishmael is this guy in my guild. And I don't know. I don't think it's the best line, but people were interested in this, so I'm just gonna kind of show you kind of what I see here. So, and then you're gonna put up a Axel here. That's pretty standard here, and right, so when Luther jumps, he'll actually get to, like I said, he usually gets to take advantage and just kind of go ham on the mid line. Usually Luther's a really, really good tank, but most teams aren't using Ishmael, so this is kind of when Luther's not good. But even then, Luther has really high armor. He is a really good tank. Like, I'm not surprised I don't say more, because he's probably like the third best tank after like Aurora and Cleaver. But part is like Aurora is just so good that there's not a lot of reason to develop Luther. But see, like once Luther jumps, like Ishmael now has free reign on the mid line. Right, usually Luther's pretty good, but this is one of those situations where he's not that great. So your Ishmael can take advantage of like Luther-led teams. You know, Jew's kind of tough just with Thea. That SOS haste is really good with Jew. There he goes, Jew's gone, so now this should be an easy cleanup. Okay, now Ishmael will walk back and go towards him. And this is gonna take a minute, so we're just gonna speed this up because it's not that exciting. Boom. Yeah, the kind of the other disadvantage of this Ishmael line is you really can't run Celeste with it, because Celeste will sit between Nebula and Ishmael. So as kind of said, so it's one of the reasons I really dislike Ishmael is you really get you really struggle there. But the biggest issue though with Ishmael is he just loses to dodge heroes like most of the time unless he gets a lucky crit. That really is his big downfall. Like I said, we can put any two other heroes here. Like let's do Isaac. And like I said, Helios will destroy him, right? Like I said, like this team right here, like you cannot use Ishmael against a team like this. So let's try to find something he can actually might have a chance versus. Like, you know, putting Helios there definitely makes this a broken win here. Let's see if we do this, and we do. Let's put Biscuit here and put. Let's try something like this. We'll see if the Ishmael team actually wins. We can run this one a couple times, but Ishmael, right side, just struggles versus dodge heroes. And Martha here, probably. Actually, Martha will get crushed. We should do Thea. Actually, Martha will get crushed versus Aurora here. So we'll do Thea. Honestly, I don't think he has either Mar or Merlin developed very well, so. But, you know, if you don't have a way to really capitalize and land that silence, Marlin's probably better because it will let Let her use your Vow of Silence a bit quicker, which means a bit faster energy gain. Right said, which will mean a bit more healing. Right, so he did land a crit on Aurora. Like, and here's the thing, like, if he gets lucky and lands that crit on Aurora, then this is a win, but a lot of times he will just miss and he'll time out. Like, I've seen it happen a lot, so you can get a win there, but it's, like I said, if we run this fight several times, like, there will be losses. And that's why I said, it's just a lot of randomness, which which is not what you want usually on the attack. Randomness is good on defense. Right, I said, he does sometimes get, like, wins on defense that I don't think a lot of people could get. But we'll run this a bit slower this time. But once she starts getting a few dodge buffs up, it gets really hard to hit her. Okay, well, we're getting some good hits today, like I said. And this is the thing, like, sometimes you just get lucky. But there's so much randomness between him landing a crit when you need to and dodge going off. When, like I said, you know, it's just, there's a lot of randomness there. But if you can drop down the dodge hero, you can win. But there's a lot of times I've seen him just miss on fights, and it's really frustrating. Like, you think he gets a win, like he gets a win 1 week versus like an Aurora-led team, and then you say the same team next week and then puts up 0. Which is I think the biggest issue I have with like Ishmael teams. They're just too random. Like I said, we'll try this again and just see if we can get 3 times in a row. Like, and it's just that's what usually happens. She just spams a bunch of dodge buffs and then destroys. Like I said, that's what usually happens. You know, she usually just spams a lot of dodge buffs and then you get destroyed. And like, that's why Ishmael is random and unreliable. Like, you see, like, did a whole lot of damage here when you win, when you land those crits, but when you don't, just gets destroyed. And that is kind of like I say, it wraps up like Ishmael, like, you know, the crux of the Ishmael theme. He is said he's a crit here. There's a lot of randomness, and he gets hosed by dodge heroes and gets hosed by Helios. Sometimes you can make it work versus a Helios team if he can land his crits and get enough healing from his vampirism to counteract it. But yeah, it's just kind of a tough hero to go with. Anyway, hope you guys found this video informative. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to my channel, joining the Discord so you can keep up on the latest, and yeah, come watch on my other videos. Thank you very much.